Every pregnancy needs utmost care and attention. But certain pregnancies need a little extra attention. An Rh negative mother carrying an Rh positive baby is at increased risk of complications. BSV is at the forefront to ensure safe delivery in every Rh negative pregnancy.
Just technical glitch there, but yes.
Sorry, we can't hear anything.
Welcome to the Outside View, and brought to you by Women's Crick Zone, and this is presented by our lovely sponsors who've always supported us: BSV, AMRA Hospitals, Food and Wellness, Puma, and of course MPLs come on board as well. And I'm Rupa Ramni. Through that post-match after India took on England at the Bay Oval this morning. If you're watching from India, not a very good outing for India and a lot of you Indian fans as well, but a very commanding effort there by England, and they reached that target of 135 in about 31.2 overs, making a bit of a botching it up a little bit towards the end. But to take us through that match, we have, as always through the day, Dan Wannikirk.
We can't hear you at all.
Am I clearer now? Because I can hear you guys just fine.
Yeah, you are clear.
Thank you. Dan, I'm going to be yelling for benefit. Is that a little better? Okay, why don't we, Dan, why don't you just go out and then join in again? Maybe that'll probably help you. Okay, I'm going to try and we'll try and sort it out with Dan Wannikirk. But former India cricketers, Sonia Daber can hear me just fine, and she wished she didn't hear me just fine because she doesn't want to be told once again that India's lost that match. Sonia, not a great feeling if you're a cricketer who's played for India, you're a fan of the sport, not something you'd like to see.
Yeah, definitely. After the last game, especially today's performance, definitely disheartening, to be honest. But I will say that they really fought well. Scoring 135 in almost 31 overs. So India did, with fall of 6 wickets, India did fight back pretty nicely. I will say a little bit luck, I will say, was favoring Skiver to be precise. Had that bells fallen off, it would have been a very different scenario that point of game. But yeah, definitely not the result I would like to see.
Dan Wannikirk is back. Dane, can you hear us just fine now?
Yeah, technology gets me sometimes.
Yeah, it does. It does. And we were just speaking about, the lack of it, or the luck factor as well, the sort of everything not really falling into place for a team like India. How relieved will England be, first of all, Dane? I mean, that's valuable points for them up on the board.
Yeah, it is, and it just gets them up and running in the tournament. I mean, we spoke about how open this tournament still is, so I think that just gives them a little bit of confidence. Yes, some things must go their way, but you, again, don't know quite what's going to happen in this tournament. We've seen a couple of surprises already, so I think they should take a lot of confidence out of this. Probably not as convincing as they wanted it to be. All credit to, obviously, India's bowlers. The standout for me was Meghna. She was just incredible. She bowled really well from the start, and then obviously Goswami as well. She's been incredible, obviously, all the time. And the thing that stood out for me is England's spin hurt India, but the pace of India hurt England. So that was really interesting to see, because if you look at the bowlers the spinners from India, they probably didn't go as well as you would have expected. So there's a pretty interesting contrast there.
Because Dane mentioned Jhulan Goswami, Sonia, and we should talk about her because 250 wickets, that's like a lot of wickets. That's some effort. And for an Indian pacer to do that, how incredible is that?
Oh, that's really a big achievement for Julian. I'm sure she would have loved to see the result as well in her favor after getting those that landmark to reach that landmark. But yeah, definitely, 250 wickets is a big thing for Julian, or for that matter, any fast bowler. As I said previously, that bowling in day and day out for 20 long years for a pace bowler, it's really a big thing. You have to be really very strong mentally, and that's what Julian is. Today also she's bowled brilliantly. I hope she continues this say similar spell in the coming matches as well.
Yes, but if we just speak a bit about, of course, 135 was not going to be a challenging score to get past, but Dane, a little bit of a mess. England got themselves in after sort of just being 20 runs away from win. Take us through that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I actually I think there was like 8 runs left, and I was like, oh well, okay, cool. I'm just gonna log in. I don't need to watch. The TV wasn't on. And then Marizan messaged me. She goes, England just lost a couple of wickets, and I'm thinking, oh, I need to watch this. So I ran and put on the TV, and I was like, oh well, I thought they just had it in the bag. So, but that comes down to obviously the character of India as well. You have to give it credit there. They, even though they needed 4, they still went at it. So yeah, obviously a bit of a mess for England, but you know what? They need to take the confidence out of it. Great knock from Heather Knight, the captain. That's what we want. We spoke about it before the game, where how crucial she is within this side and this campaign. And again, she showed her class and led from the front.
Yes, and if we can just have a recap, if you're joining us here at the outside view just now, you would have obviously witnessed a very short, pretty one-sided affair. I wouldn't say that it was entirely one-sided, but if you just have a look at the scores, and if we probably take a look at how that match panned out, you'll also realize that it was never going India's way from the start. Losing those crucial wickets right at the top sort of hurt them really bad, and there wasn't anyone to consolidate. 134 before getting all out, and the two key women who did all the damage, Charlie Dean and Anya Shrubsole for England. And when they came out to bat, we obviously heard from Dane how Heather Knight loves to take the charge and lead from the front, and she did exactly that. That batting lineup, sort of the middle order stepping up after those initial double blows where India sent back Beaumont and Wyatt. A great partnership there by the two sort of cornerstones of the engine room of England, if we had to say that, Heather Knight and Natalie Stiver. And there was no looking back. A little bit of a hiccup there towards the end. Sonia, how would you talk a lot about Nat Siva. You think that, you always believe that she's probably one of the strongest, engines, one of the strongest cogs in that field. Take us through how she performed today and how important she is in this campaign.
She looked comfortable from ball one. The way she pierced those mid wicket or deep square leg boundaries, the way she was hitting the spinners, the sweep shot especially, she was just putting them right into the gaps. And even though they had lost those two crucial wickets, she played the natural way. She didn't change the batting style. She just kept on going. She was sweeping. She was pulling everything. She was right there to score runs, and her intent looked that they really want to get that net run rate going, little bit more high. So it was pretty nice to see her going after the bowlers, especially the Indian spinners, especially Rajeshwari Gaikwad, who has been the pick of the bowlers.
Yes. And Dani, you briefly mentioned Heather. That partnership with Nat was, of course, very, very crucial, and it sort of set things in motion for England. But just a word on how Heather sort of herself steps up to all these challenges.
Yeah, I think the thing that stood out for me with Heather is she started really slow, but there was no panic stations. She got her first boundary on the 11th ball. And if you look at the contrast where Deepti, she panicked a little bit and she ran, hit and run. So it just shows you the experience, obviously, as well. And, the fact that she wants to stay out there, and she went through the tough patches, I guess, and pushed through that. And she ended up with not a bad strike rate. So, I think that's, for me, the key thing about this whole tournament is even if you have a slower start, if you stay in, you can make it count. And she just showed everyone that she she showed everyone how to go about it. And unfortunately, in the second innings, she showed India how to go about it, batting on this wicket. It maybe didn't look as easy. All the batters kind of looked like they struggled a little bit. There's a lot of edges in this game. So, I just think, the way she went about it, we said at the start she needed to do something special, and she did. She led the charges really well, and they should just take every bit of confidence they can, no matter what it is. A win is a win, and 2 points on the board.
Yes, a win is a win. But just coming back to the sort of fight that India definitely did give, despite defending a very low score, Sonia, quite a commendable start at least. I mean, that double blow should have definitely put things into perspective and given them that confidence to sort of put the pressure on England.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, they almost had the third wicket as well. Unfortunate on their part, but yeah, that was a very good fight back from India after scoring those 135 runs. Because looking at the England's batting lineup, getting those 6 wickets for just 135, chasing 135. Definitely, India put up a good show. Lot of positives. Today, unfortunate to see our spinners not, bowling up to that regular mark which they do. But yeah, Rajeshwari again was initially in the start, she was not on the mark, but yeah, she came back really well. A bit surprised why Deepthi wasn't bowled earlier, but definitely the team really gave a good fight back. It was not an easy. The England batters had to score those each and every run. It was not gifted to them.
Yes, nice point, valid point there, Sonia. Just to sort of ask you, Sonia, one more follow up, because I think Dane earlier mentioned how, the England spinners sort of hurt India, but when it was the other way around, it was the Indian pacers who did the damage. Could you tell us what is it that they did right, or what is it that the Indian spinners sort of lacked?
I thought today they were the initial matches. They made the batters drive the balls. Today it was seen a bit less compared to the previous matches. When an off spinner or any spinner for that matter, when you make the batter drive, that then you have a lot more chance to get that wicket or create chances. Today it was not seen in that. The consistency from the bowlers making the batter drive was a bit less than compared to the last matches.
Yes,
That's what Dean done. She did the same thing. If you look at Harman's, again I'm saying Harman's and Sneerana's wicket, she made them drive. That's the point when she got those ages.
yes, and if you saw that bowling card as well of India at the end of that match, quite a few decent performances coming from the pacers. Meghna Singh returning with figures of 3 for 26 in her 7.2 overs. That's when the winning runs were struck. Julian Goswami getting to that 250 wicket mark. Rajeshwari and Pooja sort of like Sonia explaining them, they just came back in probably towards the end, but not enough to sort of put the stops on the England batting lineup. But Dane, coming back to that England lineup towards the end, like you said, they wouldn't be happy with those things. You want, especially in such a comeback match, yes, the points are in the bag, but you want it to have been convincing. They wouldn't be happy with the way they ended things for sure.
No, absolutely not. But also, if you look at the previous games, some of those batters lower down has actually did a great job for their team. So, unfortunately, today maybe they didn't come off. But Amy Jones, the previous game, scored a 50. When they looked like they were a bit down and out against South Africa. So, obviously, as any player, as any team, you want to be convincing, especially chasing a lower total. But sometimes people forget the lower totals are the most difficult ones. You actually don't quite know how to go about it. So, I just think for me, you want to be convincing, but also just, Eccleston's been incredible down the order for them. Catherine Brunt has been very good for them. She's been consistent for them down the order. So, I don't think it should be panic stations for them. I think, as I mentioned, they should just take the positives out of it. Heather Nice looking great. Nat Silver is just looking in great touch. Every time she comes in, it does look like she has faced 50 balls instead of 1 ball. So, I think their positives are obviously up there. And, they should just roll with it, I guess. The momentum just shifted a little bit to them, and they should take that.
Yes, Suna, just a word on what you felt when you saw Harmanpreet get that hit on the knee. Shouldn't be that worrying, right? I mean, that's something that I'm
I
sure.
I hope that should not be a worry because next we play Australia, so we need Harmanpreet Kaur for sure. But she was struggling a bit. Maybe just the impact initially she's got. So maybe hopefully she'll be back. With a good performance as well and with a fit Harmanpreet Kaur. I hope that's not a major thing to worry.
Yes, and if since we've just mentioned India versus Australia, that's what is India's next challenge. Dani, that's going to be daunting. And if you thought England was going to be tough, facing the number one team in the world is going to be intimidating.
Yeah, look, Australia's going really well. We can't lie about that. They actually bullying teams at the moment. They're making it look like a different tournament they're in, and so it's not going to be easy. But I mean, if you get the right tactics going, and I keep saying you need to be brave against them. A lot of people are timid, and we're playing the number one team in the world. They're going well, so we're not worthy type of thing. So for me, it's just. Yeah, I think India should go out there with a mindset of like, zero or everything type of thing, and really go at them. I always feel like, and Australia with their backs against the wall, you kind of have a little bit of I guess, a chance against them, but you're going to have to find a way to get their backs against the wall. So it's definitely not going to be easy. It is doable. So again, it's a little bit doable at the moment just because they've got all their bases covered. I mean, leaving out the best spinner in the world or the number one bowler in the world, like, it just shows you the depth. It shows you tactically where they're at. So I don't think many teams will drop a player like that. So yeah, I think it's going to be daunting. But also, if India just play to their full potential, obviously that keys names the Harmanpreets, the Mithali Rajas, and Smriti at the top there is going to be key for them. I think it's going to be battle of the batters, in my opinion. But also, when I looked at the way Perry is coming back bowling and moving the ball, it's also very impressive to see. She's actually moving it both ways now. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting contest. And that's what you want to see in a World Cup like this. You want these clashes and you want to watch really good cricket, and I'm sure we will.
Yes, we will. And, watching Australia, especially, the names that you just mentioned, Dane, quite a joy to see them because them and some of the Aussie cricketers in full flow are quite a joy to watch. And speaking of how the teams look up, let's quickly take a look at the points table, just to get an idea of where everyone stands at the moment. After that win, England sort of creeping up onto that top four slot, right behind West Indies at the sixth place with that win. They next play New Zealand. That's on Sunday, and that's going to be a huge encounter because New Zealand is is sort of rounding up the top four there. Australia sitting pretty, South Africa and India. Of course, India's next encounter against Australia. So quite a lot of things to look forward to. Sonia, I'm going to come to you next. You've been part of the Indian setup. Something like this, how will the sort of team conversations be like? Because it's not like they've done something wrong. They've sort of ticked all the boxes. What is it that they're going to be looking to do before that matchup against Australia?
Yeah, that's what I said. It's even though we lost today, there were a lot many positives. Making England bat for 31 overs for 135 and getting their 6 wickets. Is a very big positive for the Indian team. Yeah, definitely they will really look into the batting. And as I said previously, that I don't know how, but I would really like to see Poonam Yadav playing into that 11. I'm not very sure how they will be doing or how it's going to be, but I'm really looking forward for that. And yeah, David, every batter in this lineup is aware of their responsibilities and the way they have to, shape up their innings, build up the partnerships. And it was, to be honest, it was a very one off bad day at the crease because it's not that they haven't had the partnerships. Last match, Harman and Smriti had the partnerships.
Yeah.
Before that, Mithali and Smriti had, and Mithali and Harman had. So as I said before, that they need to be more consistent in with their partnerships. Those, even though they are having those 30-40 runs partnership in the middle, they will be easing out. The way Julian and Richa Kosh had a partnership
Yes.
of around 30 runs. So these also help building up the score, and I would really like to see more of, see, though batters have to score runs, but even the bowlers can contribute, playing like for today's match. If these bowlers would have played for another 10 overs, you would have added that maybe 20-30 runs more, giving them only the chance to bowl more at, getting 150 at least. It would have been a bit difficult. I won't say difficult, fighting total, I would say.
Yes, and just sort of wrap up this conversation and sort of look ahead a bit. India play Australia and New Zealand play England. Both these teams will play their first. In fact, this is the first time Auckland is going to feature a World Cup match, and it's going to have these two teams playing. That's also going to be another challenge, sort of getting used to another sort of a venue, another pitch, and it's going to be different, slightly different conditions for sure. Just to sort of round this off, Dane, one last thought about England going into that match against New Zealand. That's going to be a massive encounter just as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive encounter. I think they've got a little bit of a rest. New Zealand's taking on South Africa tomorrow, so I think the rest will do them well because of that quick turnaround against South Africa the other day. And I don't know if they want that. I don't know if they just want to keep going. Especially in these situations, or maybe you want to keep that momentum, just keep going. But no, it's going to be huge for them, and obviously depending on what happens tomorrow, it might be a tournament changer for them. South Africa maybe rocks up and beat New Zealand, that it can change the dynamics of the tournament again. So yeah, I think they'll obviously keep a close eye on the game tomorrow, and then and obviously plan ahead. But Auckland is a beautiful place to play cricket. We were there and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great contest once again, and especially two teams that are finding their feet in this tournament.
Right, and we sort of led you into that one, so you should definitely not miss that one. It will promise to be another interesting face-off there. That New Zealand taking on South Africa. That's going to be tomorrow, and of course, our team will bring you that right from the pre-match analysis right up to the post. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, ladies, Dane van Niekerk and Sonia Daber, for giving us company and taking us through all of that. But thanks for watching The Outside View, and let's watch this space for more